Let us start. Let us continue our discussion of our problems on vapor compression refrigeration system. So, let us go through another new problem, which is given here as a vapor compression refrigeration system uses methyl chloride. Here, what we are defined here, the refrigerant is methyl chloride itself, not like ammonia or other commonly used sulfur dioxide or other commonly used refrigerants. It is defined as, its code name is as R40 and operates between the temperature limit of 100, pressure limit, sorry, 117.4 kPa to and 967.5 kPa. Now, at the entry of the compressor, the methyl chloride is dry saturated, means the stage number 1 or entry point of the compressor is on the dry saturated vapor line. And it is definite that at the end of compression, the vapor is superheated as we are assuming isentropic compression process. Now, after compression, it has a temperature reached to 102 degrees centigrade itself. Question is whether it is higher than the boiling point of methyl chloride. The compressor has a bore and diameter stroke is 75 millimeter, and both the bore means the diameter as well as the length of the stroke is equal, and there 75 millimeter means the swept volume of the compressor or the volume it can compress or deliver. It can be given from this dimension itself. It runs at 8 revolutions per second, means per second how much its volume. I mean the rate of supply of the refrigerant per second is available from here with a volumetric efficiency of 80%. Means it's not 100% efficiency. It uses 80% of its capacity here. The rated capacity is available from the diameter and stroke length as well as the run stroke speed. And it should be multiplied by 80% to get the actual capacity of the compressor or actual delivery of refrigerant from the system itself. The temperature of the liquid refrigerant as it lifts the condenser is 35 degrees centigrade. Means the higher temperature or T1 temperature at the entrance of the condenser as well as exit of the compressor is given as 35 degrees centigrade, which we are supposed to convert to Kelvin. And the specific heat capacity is given by 1.627 kilojoule per kg degree Kelvin. The specific heat capacity for superheated vapor may be assumed to be constant. So at the vapor stage, we can have the specific heat or the amount of heat load or heat content per kg per degree rise in temperature is given as 1.625 degree for this type of refrigerant itself. Now, what we are supposed to determine the refrigerator COP, and the mass flow of refrigerant and the cooling water required for the condenser if the temperature is limited to 12 degrees centigrade itself. The specific heat capacity of the water, specific heat capacity means specific heat of the water is given as 4.87 kilojoule per kg. So what we are supposed to do, first of all, the COP of this system and what is the mass flow of the refrigerant itself. Here we know what is the volume this compressor can volume of the refrigerant this compressor can compress, which is given to us. From that we have to calculate the mass flow of the refrigerant itself. And next is the cooling water required for the condenser. So it is that temperature raised up to maximum 12 degrees centigrade. So about the condenser and what is the cooling water, what is required as volume of the cooling water or rate mass flow rate of the cooling water is supposed to be calculated here. If it is temperature rises to maximum 12 degrees centigrade itself. So you have to cool this compressor artificially by running a cooling water through it with certain specific heat and certain started flow rate, which you are supposed to calculate here. What else is given for this methyl chloride refrigerant is the static temperature range, saturated temperature at minus degree centigrade, it is minus 10 degree, and saturated temperature means high temperature T2, T1 and T2 is given as minus 10 and 45 degrees centigrade respectively itself. The pressure at the inlet of the refrigerant, I mean the compressor, is given as 174 177.4 kilopascal, and that at the outlet of the condenser of the compressor is given as 967.5 kilopascal. So this is the higher pressure and range P2, and this is the lower pressure range P1. The specific volume of the means cubic meter per unit volume of the liquid refrigerant is given as 0.00102 and 0.001115 when it is in liquid state in the lower temperature. I mean, lower temperature, lowermost temperature of the stage of the refrigerant, and highermost temperature of the refrigerant. Means at T1, its specific volume is given here, and at T2, its specific volume is given here instead. So when at the which means the specific volume of this refrigerant at the entrance of the expander or throttle valve is given here, which is at higher temperature. We see that higher temperature itself, and specific volume of the refrigerant, which is a liquid in the liquid state at the outlet of the compressor at the expander itself is given as 0.00102 itself, and that at the vapor means at the inlet of the compressor it is given as 0.22233, and at the outlet of the compressor it is given as 0.0046, or it is the same as the specific volume at the inlet of the condenser, and the specific volume at the outlet of the condenser is given here as 0.00125, or at the inlet of the expander itself. Now, the specific enthalpy at the liquid stage and vapor stage is given, and specific entropy at the liquid stage and vapor stage is given. So let us try to write down what is the different. We have to find out what is the heat content or enthalpy at all four stages, H1, H2, H3, and H4, in order to find the COP itself. And let us write down in detail what is the specific, what is that item is given, what we are supposed to calculate itself. Now, so what is given here? Pressure P1, which is here, that is P1 itself. Lower pressure, that is equal to P2, P1, and this is equal to P2, or equal to P3, or P1 is equal to P4, which is given here. P1 is given as 177.4 kPa. This is 177 kilopascal itself, and the P2 is here, is given as 967.5 kilopascal itself. So it is not MPa but megapascal, but it's kilopascal. So it is comparatively less. It's comparatively less in this type of refrigerator system. T2 temperature at the beginning of the compressor itself, that is 102, at the end of the compressor, that is 102 plus 273, 375 degrees centigrade. That is pressure 2 at T2 at the exit of the compressor, which is at the superheated stage here. And T1 and T3 35 degrees centigrade. She is also as 103 308 T3 here, and T1 is here 263 degrees centigrade. It's not given here. No, T1 is equal to here. T1 is minus 10 degrees centigrade. It is T1 or is equal to T4. T4 and that is equal to T3. But we need the temperature at the position T2 dash, that is T2 dash, as T2 dash, which is equal to T3 dash, as well as temperature at the position 3, that is T3, which is supposed to be supercooled to a certain extent before it goes inside the expander itself. Then diameter and length of the condenser is given as 0.075 millimeter, and RPM is at 480 revolution per second. 8 multiplied by 60 is 480 revolution per minute. The efficient volumetric efficiency is 80%, and T3 is given as 35 degrees centigrade. It is not clear. That is. The temperature of the liquid refrigerant when it leaves the condenser is 35 degrees centigrade. That is the temperature T3. When in the here it is in the refrigerant enters the condenser at T2 dash, and it releases the refrigerant heat and converts it into the liquid refrigerant, and by releases the latent heat from between the stage T2 to 2 dash to 3 dash, and it is subcooled further to reach the temperature T3 when the total condensation process is complete. That is, T3 is given as 35 degrees centigrade. 35 plus 273 is equal to 308 degree Kelvin itself. Then CPL and CV, what more is given? The liquid specific at the liquid refrigerant, and that specific at the vapor refrigerant, which is constant, equal to 1.624, and specific heat of water is also given separately, that is 4.187. Means water is much higher carrier of the heat than our refrigerant itself. Next, what is the volume V1 and V2 dash? Volume V1, so is given here 0.233, and V2 dash is 0.076, and HF1, the temperature enthalpy of the fluid, is at the point 1 itself in the fluid state. It's when the refrigerant is the fluid state itself, which means that at the lower temperature it is equal to 0.45.38 degrees centigrade, when the refrigerant liquid state at the lowermost temperature. So this is given as 45 degree centigrade. HF3 dash, which is the refrigerant at the outlet, at the inlet of the throttling valve or expander, which is given as the refrigerant of the fluid at higher volume, that is at higher temperature, that is given as 132.98 degrees centigrade. H1, that is the enthalpy here. It is exactly on the saturated vapor line, so it will be equal to the enthalpy of the refrigerant at the temperature T1 on the vapor state itself, which is given here at 460 degree Kelvin itself. And H2 dash, which is the enthalpy of the refrigerant, and when the refrigerant is at the vapor stage on the vapor saturated line, so H2 dash is given here 4.83.6 kilojoule per kg. But H2 is not given, which we are supposed to calculate here. And entropy of the fluid at the point 1, when it is at the liquid state, is given from the chart is 0.83. It's the liquid state, means SF1 is the entropy at here when it is at liquid state, and entropy SF3 is entropy at the point 3, which is given as 148.3 centigrade, which is high temperature at the part in the liquid state itself. And S1, S2, which is given, S1 is given to equal to S2 itself, which is given as 1.762, which is the entropy at the vapor state itself. And S2 dash is the entropy at the vapor state at higher temperature, is given as 153.9 1.57 degree kilokelvin per kg. Now, next, let us follow that old earlier stages. We have calculated the enthalpy at the point 2. We are supposed to calculate the entropy at the enthalpy at the point 2 because it is required to know the heat content of the refrigerant after compression in order to know the COP. So H2 dash will be the H2 is equal to enthalpy at the point 2 is equal to H2 dash plus the heat content at the temperature C3 and T2 minus T3 dash itself. Means temperature at the point 2 and temperature at the point T2 dash here. All things temperature enthalpy at the point 2 dash is given. This is quoted here 4.83 and plus it is the pressure specific heat of the vapor refrigerant which is given as 1.64 and temperature at the point 2 is given as 375 degrees centigrade and that at the point 2 is 318 that is 5.76.2 kilojoule per kg. Now the liquid enthalpy of the liquid gel refrigerant at the point 3 is at the point 3 here is HF3 is equal to HF3 dash with enthalpy here minus because it is cooling it is minus CPL entropy of the refrigerant at liquid state multiplied by T3 dash minus T2 itself. Means T3 dash temperature at higher state and temperature at the lower at the exit at T3 dash minus T2 which is all given and put here to get the enthalpy at HT3 is equal to 116.74 and we know HF3 is equal to that is equal to H4 as if we consider although it is not an isentropic but we consider that these are of the same enthalpy it's they are isentropic process so they have the same heat content at the point 3 as well at the point 4. Now we know the heat content at H4 at 4 that at 1 that at 2 so the COP of this system will be the H1 minus H4 or HF3 divided by means the refrigerant effect is created divided by the heat added during the compression process H2 minus H1. We put all of them of the respective calculated and given values, they'll get the COP as 2.98 itself. Now, things then what is the next question is what is the mass flow rate of the refrigerant itself? Let it that Mg is the mass flow rate of in kg per minute. Now the suction volume of piston displacement we know the size of the piston. So piston area pi by 4 multiplied by 0.075 which is the diameter of the piston multiplied whole square pi r square h means r is equal to 0.074 pi d square into 8 multiplied have it as the surface length is the same 0.074 multiplied by the speed of the compressor that is 480 rpm. So if we put all of these values and calculate we'll get the volume compressor is producing per minute that is 0.016 cubic meter per minute itself. Now the piston displacement per minute the displacement we know that piston displacement per minute is the mass flow of the refrigerant itself multiplied by the volume of the refrigerant itself multiplied by the volumetric efficiency of the compressor itself. So we don't know mg multiplied by 0.023 that is the that is 0.2233 plus 1.08 is equal to 2.0229 mg itself. So this is the piston displacement. If we equate this equation, this one as well as this one, then we'll get 0.16 divided by 0.29 and into 0.55 kg per minute itself. So what we are doing here, first we are producing what is the maximum volume the piston volume of refrigerant is that piston can that compressor can supply. Next, we first plot down the mass flow refrigerant multiplied to the volume, that is volumetric volume divided by volume squared volume divided by the specific heat divided by that is and equate them to each other. So you get MR is equal to 0.16, 0.29 itself. The specific volume here is given as of the vapor, means of this particular refrigerant given at 0.233, means is the volume per kg of the refrigerant at -10 degrees centigrade of this type of refrigerant. So we are multiplying it by the mass flow refrigerant with mg and dividing it by the swept volumetric efficiency itself of that compressor. Or we can do the same way. We can multiply this 0.16 multiplied by the volumetric efficiency, that is eta V, and get the result and equate this portion MR into the mass flow rate multiplied by specific volume at that temperature equal to the already there we can do that. This was the compressor itself. So thus we got the value of the mass flow rate of the refrigerant throughout the system itself. Now let us go through the cooling water, rate of cooling water required by the condenser itself. Now, as we had started this for this type of refrigerant system, we required cooling water as a cooler for the mass sorry, as the cooler for the mass flow of the condenser itself. Now, let us have see MW, the cooling water required for condenser. Now, the specific heat which it can absorb, which given out by the refrigerant, first we have to find it out. How much heat is the refrigerant is being released from in the condensation process. We have already calculated the mass flow rate of the refrigerant itself, that is 0.55 here, multiplied by the heat at the outlet of the at H2 at the inlet of the condenser itself, that is the heat coming from here, and with the superheated heat which is being cooled here, and HF3 which is the volume here. So thus we are putting the value of H2 which is 576 minus 116.74, which is at F3, which is the final enthalpy at the end of condensation. So this is the enthalpy at the beginning of condensation, and this is the enthalpy at the end of condensation, and multiplied the mass flow rate. So it is the total enthalpy which or the heat content which you are supposed to remove during the condensation process itself. So we know the specific heat. So we know the mass. We have to calculate the mass flow rate of the water. So water for cooling, it is to be multiplied by the specific heat of the water. It is to be multiplied by the rising temperature during the water itself. That is the maximum rising temperature allowed is 12 degrees centigrade, 12 degree Kelvin itself. 1 second. 12. If the temperature is limited to 12 degrees centigrade, so the maximum temperature which we can allow is only 12 degrees centigrade. So if we multiply them, that is equal to 50.244 into the mass of the water itself, and if we equate this with equal to the amount of heat we have to release from the enthalpy, that is 252.7 divided by 50.244 is equal to 5.02 kg per minute itself. So thus we have calculated all these through all the three parameters which we are supposed to calculate here. In the next problem, The following data required to a single stage vapor compression system itself. The refrigerant is ozone friendly refrigerant, which does not reduces the ozone content in the air. That is R134.A, which is the most widely used refrigerant in our refrigerant system, especially the domestic refrigerants and refrigerant as well as the air conditioners. The condensation temperature is given as 35 degrees centigrade, means after the condensation, temperature is 35 degrees centigrade itself. The evaporated temperature at minus 10 degrees centigrade means at the end of evaporation, the temperature is minus 20 degrees centigrade itself. So minus 10 degree is our low temperature T2, T2 are equal to T1, and T3 is equal to the the higher temperature T2, that is 308 degrees centigrade. Compressor RPM is given as 28 degrees centigrade, 2800. Clearance volume or surge volume is given as 0.03. Clearance stroke short volume ratio is equal to 0.3, but this is the efficiency of the compressor itself. Surge volume is given by 0.69 into 69.4 to the power minus 6 cubic meter. Expansion index is equal to 1.2. Compression efficiency is given 0.8, and condensing conferences is subcooled by 5 degrees centigrade. So find out the capacity in ton, power required, and COP and heat rejection to the condenser and refrigeration efficiency itself. Let us point out which is what is what our required what parameters are given here. First of all, there is another thing as isentropic compression and suction vapor is dry saturated, means um, at I assume isentropic compression and suction vapor as dry saturated and specific heat of vapor refrigerant as 1.1 kilojoule, and that for liquid refrigerant is 1.48 kilojoule per kg. So these are formal parameters are given. So T2 at the higher temperature here, T2 is given here, or that is equal to T3 dash, T2 dash, T3 dash, both are given here 35 degrees centigrade, which is the condensing temperature. So at this temperature, the refrigerant will be condensed here after T3 dash. Next, T1 or the temperature lower experience is given as minus 10 degrees centigrade. Evaporated temperature minus 10 degrees centigrade minus or equal to 263.263 degrees kilo Kelvin itself. Action. That is 263 degree Kelvin. So lower temperature here is 263, higher temperature here is 2G308, but superheated temperature is T2. It is T3, so we have got T2, T2 dash, T3 dash, T4, and T1. And what is T3? Temperature at the after subcooling is given as only 5 degrees subcooled. Condensate is subcooled by only 5 degrees centigrade. So T3 will be equal to 30 minus 35 minus 5 will 33 degrees centigrade, or plus 273 is 303. That is T3 dash itself. So we have got temperature here, 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 here. But we have not yet got the temperature at here itself. Now, next, we have got a lot of other parameters like clearance volume and surge volume ratio. What is the surge volume itself, expansion index itself, compression efficiency itself, and itself, etc. Let us see how we can use all these factors itself. The clearance versus surge volume ratio is given as 0.03, and surge volume is given as 263. So we can safely say we calculate skeleton volume if we require, that is surge volume is given, and N is equal to the expansion index 1.12, and efficiency of the compression is equal to 80% or 0.8. Now, temperature P2, it's the temperature at high pressure at high temperature from here to here, that is given as 8.807 bar at this all three stages pressure at 2, 2 dash, 3 dash, 3. This is 8.83, that is the isobaric process itself, and pressure at rod stage is given as 2.014, means compression is compressing the refrigerant from 2.014 to the 8.87 itself. Now, let's go. Now, V1, the volume at the point 1, means at the edges of the compressor is given as swept volume visible point 0.9994 cubic meter per kg. So swept volume at the edges of the compressor is also given here, and enthalpy of the fluid at the point 1, means at this point 1 or this point 1, the enthalpy is given the liquid enthalpy at the lower temperature itself, means at liquid state, enthalpy at liquid state is 1.86 itself, which is given here. Enthalpy at 3 dash means enthalpy at liquid, enthalpy of the volume at the edges of the throttle. Here, enthalpy is converted into liquid, that is H3. H3 at 449, which is at it is refrigerant is converted into liquid itself, but it at higher pressure 35, 8.87 or 35 degrees centigrade, or that is given as 2.449 kilo Kelvin itself. H1, the enthalpy at the entrance of the compressor, which is at the enthalpy at the vapor stage at temperature minus 10 degrees centigrade, which is equal to 394.4 degrees centigrade itself. And H2 dash is the enthalpy of the vapor stage at the high temperature T2, that is given here, that is 4176 itself. And similarly, entropy of the fluid at 1, when entropy at 1 fluid stage at the lower stage is given as 0.952 at the liquid, where the liquid state, and and that at the entropy at the point 3 that with entropy at this point is given as at the at high temperature itself is 1.686 itself, means it is when it is at the high temperature, both in the liquid state. Here it is at low temperature, here it is at the high temperature. So at low temperature, this is entropy at the point 1, and this is the high temperature, it's entropy at the point 2, both in the liquid state itself, because compression expander is converting the H into vapor itself. SF1 is the one. This one. And SF3 is the entropy at the point 3 is given there. Just 1 second. And H2 is the entropy at the vapor stage at low temperature, and that is equal to entropy at the of the superheated state, which is equal to the entropy of the superheated state, which is equal to 1. S1 is equal to S2 dash is 1.76 entropy of the vapor, and that S2 dash 1.75 entropy at the high state itself, which is coming here as S2 dash itself. So TS and PS diagram we have already shown here. Now first we have to find out the temperature of the superheated vapor T2 itself, which is not given. Means temperature at this stage, which is unknown to us, or temperature at T2 is not unknown to us. So we are using this relation H2 entropy at this stage 2 is equal to entropy at this stage 2 dash plus 2.3 into specific heat of vapor at uh, of the refrigerant at 3 itself, which is multiplied by log T2 by T1. T2 dash means log of temperature at T2 at log at divided by the temperature at T2 dash. These are all known to us except T2. So if we put them and simplify it, then T2 divided by 302 is equal to 1.016, and T2 dash itself is T2 is becomes equal to 3.0308 degree Kelvin itself. So the enthalpy at the point 2, where H2 is where H2 dash is equal to specific heat of the refrigerant or the vapor state multiplied by the temperature at T2 and minus the temperature at T2 dash is equal to 4.176 itself plus 1.1 into 3.13.08 minus 302 is equal to 4.23 itself. The enthalpy of liquid represented at point 3, which is equal to HF3 temperature of the liquid represented at the point 3 is equal to HF3 equal to HF3 dash minus TP1 into T3 dash minus T2, T3. So what is the point 3? Let us go through again. This is the point 3, the entropy, point 3, which is lying on the of the condenser, which is cooled. Condenser is being cooled from the point 2 dash and ending at condensate is cooled ending at 3 dash. So what we are getting, that is the enthalpy. So enthalpy refrigerant at H2 we have calculated, and enthalpy liquid at H3, that is T2. We know enthalpy at the point 2, that is the refrigerant here. The enthalpy at the point 2 is equal to enthalpy entropy at the, there is no, it is isentropic process. The enthalpy at point 1 is equal to enthalpy at the point 2 itself. So entropy at the point 1 is equal to that at the point 2 itself. So that is H2 is equal to H2 dash is equal to CP2, CP3 minus T2 dash itself. So we put all these values, we know the now the value of T2. So we get the entropy at the point H2 is equal itself. The enthalpy of liquid represented at the point 3, H3, which is at the outlet of the on the liquid refrigerant line, which is given as HF3 is HF3 dash and equal minus CP1 minus T3 dash minus T2 itself. So at the outlet of the enthalpy at the outlet of the condenser is HF3 after subcooling is equal to enthalpy at the outlet of the in the condenser where before the subcooling itself minus the specific heat of the liquid represent minus the temperature drop in the supercooling stage T3 T3 dash itself. All factors are given. So HF3 is given as 2.48.81 joule per kg. Now, next, the volumetric efficiency of the compressor itself, which is given as 1 plus C minus C P2 divided by P1 to the power 1 by M, 1 by N itself. This I will discuss when I will discuss the compression. Just it is a compression index that is 0.03 plus 0.03 itself, that is given here. That is the ratio of swept volume as well as compression value. The clearance volume and swept volume, that is the ratio equal to C, 1 plus C minus C into P2 minus P1. That is the pressure rise, lower pressure at the entrance of the compressor, pressure 2 at the at the exit of the compressor multiplied by the 1 by 1.2. Just 1 second. This is equal to 1 by N. Where N is equal to 1.12 is given here. Expansion index. Here is the that is equal to 1.112. So we put up this value and we get the volumetric efficiency is equal to 0.91 or 91% itself. MR, mass flow rate of the refrigerant in kg per minute, and MR, mass flow rate of the refrigerant in kg per minute. So we know the precise displacement, swept volume into RPM. Swept volume we have given multiplied by the RPM is given, that is the piston displacement is equal to 0.74 itself. Now again there is another way of finding the piston displacement itself. The mass flow rate multiplied the volumetric specific volume divided by the volumetric efficiency itself, and this is equal to 0.012 per mg. So equating these two equations, then these two equations and this equation, we get mass flow 0.7554 in 32 divided by 0.014, 6.96 itself. Then what is the compression capacity of the system? We know the refrigerant effect part means that the mass flow rate of the refrigerant multiplied by H1 minus H4 or H1 minus HF2. The enthalpy at the outlet of the refrigerant, at the evaporator, and enthalpy of the refrigerant at the inlet of the refrigerator multiplied by the mass flow. So we got the mass flow and we already know H1 and HF3. We know that the refrigerant effect is equal to 1.48 kilojoule per minute. So capacity of this system in terms of tons, we have to divide it by 210 kilojoule per minute. So that is equal to 4.91 ton itself. And the power required is equal to, we have to calculate what is the work done during the compression stroke of the refrigerant. We know the mass flow, that is 6.69 itself, multiplied by H2 minus H1, the enthalpy at the outlet of the compressor minus enthalpy at the inlet of the compressor. This is put together and is equal to 2.14.47 kilojoule per minute. So power stroke required, this kilojoule per minute means we have to do divide by 6 to make it kilojoule per minute per second, which is equal to kilowatt. That is 2.14.47 divided by 60 to 3 point equal to 3.57 kilojoule per second itself. COP is the refrigerating effect. COP is simple. Refrigerating effect divided by work done. Both you have calculated. Just put these two here and get the ratio 4.89. Heat rejected in the condenser is the total mass flow rate in the condenser again, that is 6.96. H2, the enthalpy at the entrance of the entrance of the condenser, when enthalpy at the outlet of the compressor itself, minus HF3 enthalpy at the exit of the refrigerant, enthalpy of the refrigerant at the exit of the condenser, which is HF3 itself. This is available. All three are calculated, put together, and get the result here. The heat rejected condenser is equal to the refrigerant effect plus work done. So So if we add them together, the refrigerating effect calculated refrigerant plus the work done in the condenser, we're supposed to get the same value itself. Uh, what is the refrigeration efficiency? Now, we know that COP of the Carnot cycle. This is a new COP of the Carnot cycle is given by at the higher temperature, a lower temperature divided by higher temperature minus lower temperature. That is 263 by 302 minus 260. That is 5.83. That is the optimum COP of the system itself. So efficiency, which is calculated, is given by 4.89, which is divided by the efficiency, optimum efficiency is equal to 0.8367 or 83.67%. The efficiency this system has. So let us stop our work. Next class we'll go for some more important problems here. That is from 4.18 itself.